Hello friends, it's Kayla. I'm here to do my final book haul of the summer. I purchased around 20 things in the past 10 weeks, I think, since I did my last book haul. I have not stepped foot in a bookstore in a month until today. I stopped at a couple places and grabbed a couple things while I was out doing shopping for some local evacuee necessities. While I was out, I picked up a couple things for myself, including some fall candles. I know it's not fall yet, but I need the fall vibes. I need the summer to stop because it's not a good time. The world's on fire. The temperature needs to dip. We're lucky we haven't been displaced like many other people have been. But, oh, hello. Speaking of the local fire, that was an email telling certain neighborhoods that they are safe to go home. Anyway, let's get into the book haul. I feel like this is my most informed book haul in a while. I didn't buy, I don't think, anything outside of the box and just wild and doesn't make sense. Everything I have a reason for. Not that I need to give it to you, but I've got one. Let's start with this deck right here, which I've actually already read all of these. First, I had some pre-orders that I've already read, which is great. We have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, which is a Antony and Cleopatra inspired fantasy story where there's this game going on where you have to kill people and you can jump your mind into other people's bodies. And there is a romance between our two main characters, Kala and Anton. There's political things going on. There's a little bit of romance. There's magic systems to learn about. I already give my review on this if you're looking for that. In the same video, I would have given my review for Dead 11 by Jimmy Giuliano. And this I was really excited about because it is set on an island and it's weirdly magical and time is strange, or at least that's what I went into it with those expectations. So there's this island where people go and they're stuck in 1994. Everyone is obsessed with 1994 and continues to act as though it's 1994. And we have a newcomer to the island who's investigating his sister who's gone missing. And then we're also following her and many other perspectives, as this is kind of mixed media, as she arrives on the island months ahead of him looking for her, not her son, but evidence of her son, or the reason that her son, who recently died, was obsessed with this island. It's a little horror, it's a little thriller, it's a little mystery, it's a little supernatural, and it was an interesting time. And the cover is one of my favorites of the year. Happy to have pre-ordered those. And then I read for Summer Ween these three that I picked up that I just decided I wanted to read. Sucker by Daniel Hornsby, which is set in Silicon Valley, where there's this woman who runs a business where it does stuff to your blood. She has these grandiose ideas, and the person who becomes a part of her team starts to question everything that's going on and this dark underbelly of society and maybe some vampire things going on. Not excited that I bought this one full price and brand new because I didn't like it. Happy that I bought this one full price brand new though. Maybe this is why my book haul is mostly informed, because everything that I bought that I haven't read yet, I got on sale, or I really wanted it for a reason, because big hardcovers are going for $37 right now. But this is a short story collection from an author that I really like, Paul Tremblay, and they're all, well, there's one story that takes up half of this anthology that is called The Beast You Are, so it's about beasts and animals and things, and all of the other stories are from other collections of his or reference other books of his. It was a mix of things, but overall it was a 4, so I'm happy to own it. And then Murder is a Piece of Cake is the sequel to 2 Part Sugar, 1 Part Murder by Valerie Burns. And cozy mystery sequels, I am realizing, not my favorite, but it was a 3, which almost all of them are. But she is tasked with solving the mystery of who murdered her competitor baker across the street, because she runs a bakery. Next up, here's 3 books that I borrowed from the library, loved, and then bought myself a copy. All of them were thrifted or bought on sale, so go me. This one I found literally the day after I read the library book, The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. And this is a book about a woman who is immortal, and she becomes a teacher, and it follows her through many, many years of her life. And a bulk of the story is when she's this teacher and she becomes concerned with one specific student and his family life, and she inserts herself or is brought into that family in a certain way. And she finds out the truth about what's going on behind the scenes. Then I grabbed Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemore, which I also borrowed and loved. And this one is about a woman who wakes up one day and she is in a different year of her life, and she gets to experience that whole year as if she's never experienced it before. So she'll wake up and she's 24, but she has the memories that have come before. And then after that full year, she wakes up and she's 52 and she lives that entire year. Every single year she's living, not reliving, living for the first time that year of her life. And that's just how it works. It's not like her trying to solve or fix what's going on. That's just how she exists. And I found it really interesting. And then I was happy to find Men We Reaped by Jesmyn Ward, because the copy that I got from the library, I didn't love the cover, but this one I do. This is obviously the author. It's her memoir and her brother, and it follows all of the deaths that have happened in her life, including losing her brother and many other men throughout. I think it was especially her adolescence or teenage years, and just grappling with that and highlighting a lot of issues with society. Incredibly well written, so I'm happy to now own it. And then these two I purchased, well, I pre-ordered them, obviously, because they're my book club picks. This one we just read and did a live show for, The Only One Left by Riley Sager, which is set in the 80s, and we're following a woman who is a caretaker for this elderly woman who is telling her the life story, her life story. And she has been not like convicted, but rumored to have murdered her entire family. And now she's going to tell the truth of what happened. And then next week, I think it's Tuesday, we're going to have the live show for A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing, which is just the history of this relationship. We've got Wes and Ivy and their toxic relationship. Something deadly went down in their past, and now they're uncovering if they can really trust each other and dealing with the ramifications perhaps of what they've done. And now the second stack of unread things, but I promise I will read them. First up, we've got People Change by Vivek Shraya. This is informed because I loved this one, I'm Afraid of Men, by this author, and I just like this collection and this size of book. This is nonfiction, and I think it's literally just about how people change. We change our haircuts, our outfits, our minds, we change our names, titles, labels, we attempt to blend in or stand out. And this is a reflection on the origins of this impulse, tracing it from childhood influences, from Hinduism to Madonna. It's a guide to celebrating our many selves and the inspiration to discover who will become next. I just thought it'd be a good read. I also had this one pre-ordered, 0 Days by Ruth Ware. Obviously, I'm a Ruth Ware girl. I was planning on reading it for Summer Week and didn't get around to it, so I'm trying to think of what other video I could possibly fit this into this year. But it is about a husband and wife, and they work doing like tests on security systems. So people will hire them to hack into their databases and see how protected they really are. And then she's doing a job one day and her husband goes missing. Has he died? I don't really remember. I think she's solving that. It started out really interesting. I just didn't have room for it, so I got to figure that out soon. And then I also had this one pre-ordered, Everything the Darkness Eats by Eric LaRocca, because I'm an Eric LaRocca girl. This one didn't start off as exciting, but the premise still is. We're following a widower. This book is so dark. A widower with a grim secret is drawn into the dangerous ritual of dark magic. And we're learning about unbridled hatred that lives below the city or something like that. So I definitely need to read this. I don't feel super motivated to pick it up because I don't think it's gotten the best reviews so far, but I will. And then because I read Pew by Catherine Lacey a couple months back, I decided to pick up Biography of X. I got this very discounted because it is not in the greatest shape, and this isn't the dust jacket. This is what the book actually looks like. And it's a little bit bent, but it's totally readable. From what I understand, it seems like it's kind of similar to this in that we have a nameless, genderless protagonist. And in here, we're following somebody who's just known by the name CM and their partner X. Their name is just X. We don't really know anything about them, and maybe neither does CM. And so this is essentially a bunch of gathered documents creating the biography of X done by her widower. I know I also just gave her a name and a gender, so it's not the same as this, but I think it's the same in that it's just this like weird entity that we're learning about throughout the story, and we're not going to get all of the answers. I think there's a lot of other things going on in here besides the biography. Like, we're learning different things, or this character is learning different things about the world along the way. I don't know. But if the weirdness is present here, I think I'll enjoy it the same. Next, because I really liked Erotic Stories by Punjabi Widows last year, I picked up Bali Gorgeous Wall's latest, Now You See Us, which is about this woman in Singapore. There's a bunch of women from the Philippines who are moving over to Singapore to be cleaners, maids, and caregivers. And one of them has been accused of murdering her employer. And we're following 3 different women who know her, know vaguely of her, and are set out to find out the truth so they can protect her and their community. This was such a mix of genres, and there was a little bit of a mystery plot in it that I wasn't expecting, and so I'm excited to see. It's not in the mystery category, I don't think, but I'm excited for her to insert another mystery in here amongst a lot of like social and political conversations. Then the next 2 are video specific things. So one of them, at the beginning of the year, I made this questionnaire on Instagram where people could recommend me books, and people so kindly did so. And one of the ones I got was Hawk Mountain. So I pre-ordered this at the beginning of the year so I could get the paperback when it came out, and that just came out. It just came out now. So I have it. That's how ordering things works. It's by Connor Habib, and Paul Tremblay actually blurbed it, which is fun. And this is about this man who's at the beach with his son, and he runs into his like high school bully, and it creates this like fast-paced action kind of story where these 2 men are figuring out their dynamic as adults. It's about obsession. It's about unearthing the pain of their shared past and an explosive desire in the present. So that's what we're into for that. And then this one I've had pre-ordered for so long because I haven't planned for a video I haven't talked about, but it will probably be in October. So I've been planning this TBR for a while. This is one of the books that was selected for me. It's called The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. And it's about this woman who goes and lives in her aunt's apartment. And when she gets there, there's a man there who lives there, but he's from 7 years ago. And so she's living 7 years in the future from his timeline, and I guess they fall in love, and then I don't know, do they like fix the timeline? Maybe that's not even the goal, but I think he's probably like stuck in the apartment, and maybe the whole apartment is stuck 7 years ago. Then what else can I tell you? This one is just one that I have had on my radar for a while, and I kept forgetting to buy it. It's called The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. And I've had this recommended to me a few times, and I thought I already owned it, but the one that I owned is called When We Were Birds. So I was mixing these ones up. So I finally picked up a cheap copy of this. And it's supposedly a literary sci-fi novel where we have a woman named Naya. Decades of travel through the stars are condensed into mere months for her, though the years continue to march steadily onward for everyone else. Her friends and lovers have aged far past her. All she has left is work. Alone and adrift, she lives only for the next paycheck until the day she meets a mysterious boy fallen from the sky. I don't want to know anymore. I'm very excited to get into this someday. And now the next 2 are a little less informed. It's kind of a mix because I have recently taken all of my romance off of my TBR shelf. That doesn't mean I'm not reading it. That doesn't mean I'm unhauling it. But what it means is it's going to be in more specific dedicated videos rather than me slipping romance into like other TBRs, because romance is just not hitting for me this year. And I don't want to keep talking about it and keep giving like the same review over and over again. So there will be a dedicated video, but these were purchased before. Also, I guess The 7-Year Slip is a romance. So maybe I just lied to you and it is gonna be in a video. But I purchased these 2 before I made that decision that I wasn't gonna put it into many TBRs anymore. And they make sense because they're both about fake dating. And I'm still very much into fake dating, I think. So we have If I Never Met You by Vari McFarlane. And this is about 2 people who work together, otherwise known as coworkers. And she recently ended a really long relationship, and so she's feeling really vulnerable and maybe judged at work, and he is just like the office, what is it called, playboy is how they refer to him, and they both have something to gain as far as outsiders' opinions of them if they pretend to fake date, but obviously they're gonna fall in love for real. And then the same thing is true for this one. Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley. This is also about a woman who recently left a relationship. This one was broadcast on a reality dating show. And then the guy runs a cupcake bakery, and a reporter mistakenly believes that they're an item, and they realize they can both benefit from people believing they are an item. So I'm happy to still have romance on my TBR. It's just not sitting there judging me every day for not reading it. And I guess these two are the ones that make the least amount of sense because they were a little bit impulse purchases. This one I literally just bought today. It's called My Murder by Katie Williams. And I've heard it's a mystery thriller that mixes in sci-fi things. I don't think I've even read the synopsis, but I love the cover. I think this woman is the victim of a serial killer. So she's dead and she's trying to solve her murder. And how it's sci-fi, I don't know. But like the idea of being able to solve your own murder, there has to be something fantastical or science fictional going on. Oh, brought back to life by a government project. Okay, I was thinking about this for the Literally Dead book club. I'm not committing to that. I want to read the first couple chapters though. And I apparently thought the only way to do that was to purchase the copy. I think the library hold list was just too long for me to deal with. And then I grabbed this one because the cover is just everything to me. It's called Dark Archives by Megan Rosenblum. And I think it's about books that are bound in human skin. So I don't know why I bought it, but it's like a nonfiction, obviously, look at the history of, they call it something, anthropodermic bibliophagy. And the author herself is a librarian and journalist and a member of the Order of the Good Death and a co-founder of Their Death Salon, a community that encourages conversation, scholarship, and art about mortality and mourning. This isn't like, doesn't seem like my normal kind of book, but obviously it's book related and nonfiction, so it is. But like, I don't think I'm very much known for picking up the more like macabre, mortuary type of things, though they do get consistently recommended to me. So anyway, that's it. Those are the 20-ish things that I have gotten in my life in the last 2.5 months. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you are interested in any of these yourself or you've read any of them and you want to let me know which ones you think I'll be into or not. Keep an eye out for all of my upcoming vlogs where I talk about all of these things, and I'll see you later. Bye.